That's the one bad thing about the WNBA is like it's during the summer, so I don't get to go out and golf as much, but I try to make as much time as I can without hurting my back. Because I think people on other teams play too. I know there's some people that take their clubs on the road. I haven't quite done that. I'm usually too focused on basketball, but I think as an athlete, like when you're in your element and you're competing and doing your thing, you don't always realize that. So I'm sure the guys get in their zone and kind of go about their business how they always do, but that element is always something that you can't prepare for. It's like, but also enjoy it at the same time, because this place is beautiful and incredible, and having fans or crowds or whatever it is follow you in professional sports, like that's what makes it really fun.
So the name on everyone's lips in the basketball world right now is Caitlyn Clark. It's because Caitlyn has just sat down for an interview with the Masters. And let me tell you that this banger has literally left everyone stunned. Well, if you've been following Clark's career, you know she's no stranger to breaking barriers and making waves. But this latest conversation, it's next level. So hold on to your seats, because what we're about to dive into is some of the most groundbreaking stuff we've ever heard in women's sports. Caitlyn Clark has not only dominated the college basketball scene, but has also helped bring an entirely new energy to the NCAA women's basketball tournament. Her performances have led to record-breaking viewership, highlighting just how much potential there is in women's college basketball. College basketball fans have embraced Clark as a star, and it's clear that the future of the NCAA tournament is brighter than ever. Her leadership, both on and off the court, has brought the attention of major sponsors, media outlets, and even prospects to women's basketball. This increase in interest and engagement represents a major shift in the way women's sports are viewed. And Caitlyn Clark is at the center of it all. Caitlyn Clark's influence isn't just personal, it's catalytic. Her presence has a ripple effect across the WNBA, increasing exposure for every team and player. More media coverage means that rookies and experts alike get their moments in the spotlight. The Indiana Fever might be reaping the early benefits, but this is a rising tide moment, one that can lift all boats. From jersey sales to ticket demand and broadcast ratings, Clark's entry into the league is setting off chain reactions. Sponsors, too, are watching closely. As more money flows into women's basketball, expect improvements in facilities, salaries, and resources. This isn't a one-player phenomenon. It's a league-defining shift. Clark's move from Iowa to the WNBA wasn't just a step up. It was a leap into the spotlight. As the Indiana Fever's newest franchise centerpiece, she's adapting fast to the pace, power, and pressure of professional ball. But instead of shying away, she's thriving, bringing that same fire, court vision, and fearless energy fans loved in college. Her presence already feels like the dawn of a new era for the league. Her rise to fame isn't just about the stats and the titles she's racked up. It's about the way she's redefined what it means to be a female athlete at the collegiate level. For years, women's basketball has played second fiddle to men's sports in terms of media coverage and recognition. But Caitlyn Clark's influence has changed the conversation. Her high-octane playing style, competitive fire, and unapologetic confidence have inspired a generation of young women to pick up a basketball and believe that they, too, can dominate the game. Now, Caitlyn Clark, the Iowa sensation, has been turning heads in college basketball for years. With her insane skills, leadership on the court, and the ability to light up the scoreboard like no one else. But this interview with the Masters, yes, the very same Masters that host some of the biggest names in the game, this one's different. You see, Caitlyn Clark's influence has spread far beyond the collegiate world. She's caught the attention of not just fans, but legends, executives, and the entire WNBA. And when the Masters get involved, you know the conversation is about to get real. Clark's always been known for speaking her mind, but this time she went deep, like real deep, into what's next for women's basketball. And no, we're not talking about a simple discussion on her career or the usual, what's it like to be an athlete type of questions. Caitlyn Clark dropped some major truth bombs, revealing a perspective that's making even the most seasoned WNBA stars sit up and take notice. From her take on the current state of women's basketball to what she thinks about the future of the WNBA, Caitlyn Clark did not hold back. First off, Clark talked about how women's basketball is at a tipping point, a turning point, and how the WNBA is on the verge of exploding in ways we've never seen before. But here's the kicker. Caitlyn Clark didn't just talk about the progress that's been made, she called out the things that still need to change. And let's just say she wasn't shy about it. She made it clear that while there's been progress in terms of exposure and opportunity for women athletes, there's still a long road ahead. And she isn't afraid to speak up about it. Her willingness to challenge the status quo marks her as one of the most influential figures in sports today. Caitlyn Clark's influence doesn't just stop at basketball. She's becoming a cultural icon who's inspiring a new generation of young athletes and activists. Her platform is about more than just advocating for better pay or equality in sports. It's about shifting the narrative surrounding women's empowerment in all areas. Clark's open discussions about mental health, balancing the demands of being a student athlete and using her voice for positive change have resonated deeply with fans. She's become a role model not just for aspiring basketball players, but for anyone who wants to make a difference in their field, whether that's in sports, entertainment, or other industries. Clark also opened up about the mental side of being an athlete, from performance pressure to burnout to guiding criticism in the public eye. She's spoken frankly about therapy, self-care, and the importance of checking in with yourself. Her transparency is refreshing in a world where athletes often feel the need to appear invincible. It's another reason fans and fellow athletes look up to her. What makes Caitlyn Clark especially powerful is her attractive pull on the future generation. Young girls and boys are watching her games and dreaming of being just like her. They're picking up basketballs, learning her moves, and proudly wearing number 22 jerseys. Clark isn't just shaping a season, she's shaping futures. Social media is flooded with kids mimicking her logo shots, fan art, and TikTok videos celebrating her performances. It's rare to see an athlete create such a tangible bridge between the court and the community, but Clark is doing just that, welcoming a new wave of fans to women's basketball. One of the most unexpected parts of the interview came when Caitlyn Clark discussed the pay gap between the WNBA and the NBA. Oh yeah, you knew this was coming. Clark went in hard, saying that while the WNBA players have been putting in the work and proving their worth year after year, the financial compensation doesn't reflect the talent and hard work these women are putting in. She even pointed out the clear disparity in pay, not to mention the media attention, or lack thereof, the women's league gets compared to their male counterparts. And when someone like Caitlyn Clark speaks up, people listen. This isn't some random player. It's the face of women's college basketball, the person who single-handedly brought more eyes to the game than anyone in recent memory. One of the most exciting things Caitlyn Clark discussed in her interview is how the media landscape is changing for women's sports. While there's still a long way to go, there's a growing trend of sports networks, websites, and social media influencers covering women's basketball more frequently. Clark touched on how this surge in media coverage has helped promote not just the WNBA, but also college programs and other professional women's sports leagues. When asked about the future, she was adamant that if the media continues to give women's sports the coverage they deserve, there's no limit to how far these athletes can go. Her rise to stardom can be credited in part to the increase in coverage. And Clark sees herself as a catalyst in creating more opportunities for women in sports journalism and broadcasting. It's not just about the athletes themselves getting more media coverage, it's about the infrastructure around women's sports that's finally starting to catch up. Clark spoke about how more and more women's sports brands, merchandise, and endorsement deals are becoming a more regular part of mainstream conversations. Companies are starting to realize the power of aligning with strong female athletes, and it's creating a new industry for women's sports that's still in its infancy, but growing fast. And here's the thing, Caitlyn Clark didn't just talk about the problem, she laid out a vision for the future. She has a vision of a WNBA that's not just successful, it's dominant. She wants to see a world where women's sports get the respect they deserve, where athletes are paid what they're worth, and where women in basketball are finally able to compete on equal footing with the men. This isn't a pipe dream for Clark. This is the future she's fighting for. She's not just talking the talk, she's walking the walk, and she's got a lot of people, including some of the biggest names in basketball, backing her up. But it wasn't just about the WNBA or her aspirations. Caitlyn Clark also went deep into what the future of women's basketball looks like in terms of representation, diversity, and access. She spoke about how more and more young girls are picking up basketball and how that is shaping the future of the game. But Clark didn't stop there. She also brought up the need for more representation in the coaching staff, in the front offices, and even in the media coverage. She made it clear that women in basketball should have a seat at the table at all levels, not just on the court. A truly inclusive future is one where every woman, from players to coaches to decision makers, is given an equal opportunity to thrive. While some people within the WNBA have been hesitant to support Clark's statements fully, many of the league's biggest stars have rallied behind her. Players like Sabrina Ionescu, Breanna Stewart, and Diana Taurasi have publicly praised Clark for her courage in speaking out about the disparities in pay, media attention, and opportunities for women athletes. These players see Clark as a beacon for the future of women's basketball, and their support is crucial in pushing forward the much-needed changes. The strength of these associations has created a powerful movement that is sure to continue to grow as more players from various sports join the conversation. Now, what exactly did the WNBA have to say about all this? Well, let's just say this interview didn't exactly go over smoothly with everyone. While Caitlyn Clark's words have earned her praise from fans and some of her fellow players, some didn't take too kindly to what she had to say. You can imagine that when someone as influential as Clark calls out the powers that be, there's bound to be some tension. But let's be real. Caitlyn Clark isn't afraid of stepping on a few toes to get things done. She's the kind of player who thrives in the spotlight, and when she speaks, she does it with authority. And if that ruffles a few feathers along the way, well, so be it. Clark isn't afraid to take risks, and in this case, those risks are pushing the entire WNBA forward in a long overdue way. Statistics tell one part of Clark's story, but her leadership tells another. From intense huddles to quiet moments with rookies and high fives after missed shots, she's already taking on the emotional workload of a franchise player. It's rare for a rookie to command respect from experts and coaches alike, but Clark's basketball IQ and work ethic have fast-tracked her into that role. The best part? She's still learning, still listening, still growing. Leadership isn't always loud, it's consistent, it's resilient, and it's on full display with Caitlyn Clark. Now, let's talk about the reaction from the fans, because that's really where the magic happens. Fans all across the globe have been applauding Caitlyn Clark for speaking up. They're tired of seeing women's sports take a back seat to their male counterparts, and they're not afraid to support athletes like Clark who are willing to fight for change. The social media buzz around this interview has been off the charts, with fans echoing Clark's sentiments about the pay gap, the need for more representation, and the lack of respect women's basketball receives. They're rallying behind her, and it's clear that Clark's words are resonating with a new generation of fans who are ready to see women's basketball rise to the top. But here's where things get interesting. Caitlyn Clark didn't just stop at talking about change, she's doing something about it. Through her platforms, Clark has been pushing for more media coverage of women's sports, advocating for better pay and conditions for players, and even mentoring young girls who aspire to follow in her footsteps. She's not just talking the talk, she's taking concrete action to make sure that women in sports are seen, heard, and valued. And let's not forget the impact of this interview on the rest of the basketball world. When someone like Caitlyn Clark speaks up, It forces everyone to take a hard look at the state of women's sports, especially basketball. It's one thing for casual fans to sit on the sidelines and passively watch. It's another for the brightest stars in the game to step up and demand better. And that's exactly what Clark is doing. She's pushing the envelope, challenging the status quo, and inspiring a movement that's gaining momentum with every passing day. Of course, with the spotlight comes scrutiny. Critics have tried to question her confidence, her bold statements, even her style of play, but Clark isn't fazed. If anything, the noise fuels her. She's not afraid to be outspoken, and she's proving that you can be competitive and compassionate, assertive and humble. It's this balance that makes her dangerous on the court and respected off it. The ripple effect of Caitlyn Clark's influence is being felt across the globe. Her message isn't limited to just the United States. International fans and players alike are taking note. Countries where basketball is still growing, such as in Europe and Asia, are looking to Clark as an example of what is possible when you break through barriers. International players have expressed their gratitude toward Clark for providing them with more visibility. And even those outside of the sport are calling for greater representation. It's no longer just about the American sports scene. Clark is helping inspire a worldwide movement that advocates for equality, representation, and better opportunities for women athletes everywhere. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. Okay, this all sounds great, but where does it go from here? Well, my friends, that's the million-dollar question. Listening and ready to back up her words with real, tangible change. The stage is set and the ball is in our court. Fans recognize Caitlyn Clark's command in every situation. She performs leadership by mentoring new players and taking vocal roles in significant issues, and she already highlights leadership beyond basketball. Sports fans from across the world follow her leadership journey to gain knowledge as she breaks through limitations while creating new connections. The current moment belongs to Caitlyn Clark, but also extends to the entire women's basketball world. The women's basketball world has long waited for this moment, which keeps growing stronger every day. Caitlyn Clark uses her leadership both on game day huddles and heartwarming off-court messages to create a new future for women's basketball. Caitlyn Clark's interview with Masters magazine turned into something bigger than just a headline because it became a thoughtful statement predicting the path of tomorrow while acting as a motivational anthem. The game has met its match in Caitlyn Clark, who uses her talent to push the sport of basketball forward. So, what do you think? Is Caitlyn Clark rewriting the rules of women's basketball? Or is the world finally catching up to her game? Drop your thoughts in the comments below.